I'm just going to hit you with a bunch of headlines here from the first 10 minutes or so of the press conference. You can react to them. We'll kind of go through them. First up, Jauan Jennings has reported to 49ers camp. That's the first one. John Lynch said that Jennings reported, took his physical, anticipates Jennings being out there. This, per our guy Mayoko, said Lynch on the contract situation, quote, "We love him and he's here." So let's start with that first off here.
So either the reporting was erroneous, or he's not holding out and demanding a trade, or he is. Either he's holding out or he's holding in, and what Lynch just described is neither. So
right.
What was the reporting on he's demanding? Was the whole Rosenhaus thing a bunch of crap? Because there's no truth in that. You're either holding out, and that means you don't show up, or you're holding in, which means you're showing up and you're not going to play. Lynch says, we love him. He's here. He intimated that he's going to practice. So what is it? What is it?
Yeah,
what's the deal?
Exactly. So we'll find out tomorrow at 10:25 a.m. But yeah, John Lynch, quote, anticipating he'll be out there at practice as it relates to Jauan Jennings. Brandon Aiyuk update. John Lynch saying he's not anywhere close to having a concrete timeline as to Aiyuk's return from the knee injury that he sustained last season, but he is going to be working out with the 49ers. So that's your Brandon Aiyuk update. You want to touch on that? In a good place, did a lot to his knee, working on his rehab. Team is encouraged, but no timeline close.
Yeah, so, I mean, once again, it's July 22nd. So the reports that, hey, man, Aiyuk could be ready for week 1, and that's not happening. He got hurt in week 7. He blew out the ACL, the MCL, and the meniscus. And usually the ACL is a full year injury. So this guy blew out the ACL, MCL, and meniscus. So, people are saying, oh, well, he could be there week 1. That's not happening. He's not going to be there week 1. He's going to be put on the PUP list at the end of the cutdown, which means he will automatically miss the first 4 games. And the first game that he will be eligible to play is week 5. And I think it's more realistic.
And that's a short week game also, so they're in terms of practice and getting him up to speed and all that, the 5th game.
Yeah,
that's that Rams game.
I'll say he will play week 10. And that would be November 9th home game against the Rams. That if I had to guess, I would say he got hurt in early October. It was a fairly serious thing. 5 weeks. Week 5 against the Rams is the first game that he could play. My guess is it's going to be week 10 against the Rams. That'd be my guess.
Yeah, I would take the over on week 5 at this point, and I'm kind of with you. I think it's somewhere between week 5. I don't think he'd play week 5 against the Rams, especially on that turf. So I think it's week 6 to where you're looking at in terms of week 10. Ricky Pearsall's injury, a hamstring injury, expected to be cleared early in camp, not expected to be activated tomorrow. This via Matt Mayoko, but could be ready to go after an early acclimation period. This Ricky Pearsall thing, when the 49ers broke after minicamp and went into the 40 days away leading up to today where everybody reports, the expectation, at least the way Kyle Shanahan made it sound, Krug, was if training camp started June 20th, June 27th, July 1st, Ricky Pearsall would be good and ready to roll. So here we are 6 weeks later, and Ricky Pearsall not quite ready, but expected to be ready early in camp. And the 49ers also, real quick, I'll put this because wide receiver depth is a question. Equanimeous St. Brown signed to the 90-man roster at the opening of training camp. 6-year vet, couple games with the Saints last year, but some wide receiver depth, with Equanimeous St. Brown.
I like
Pearsall
Equanimeous.
and St. Brown.
Yeah, I like Equanimeous, and he played at Notre Dame. He's the biggest of the St. Brown sons, right? There's Amon-Ra, who's great. Then there's Osiris, who played for Stanford. And then you have Equanimeous, who played for Notre Dame. Equanimeous is like 6'6", about 215 pounds, and he ran in the high 4.4s once upon a time. So I definitely thought of the players that they worked out. They worked out 6 receivers yesterday.
And he was one of them.
He was one of the 6 receivers. It was Quintez Cephas, Grant DeBose, Raymel Caton, Stanley Morgan, Brandon Powell, and Equanimeous St. Brown. Equanimeous was probably the best of the group on paper, and that's who they signed today. So, I think a little bit better than your typical camp body. I'll say that. Big guy, very athletic, really smart kid. Interesting signing there. And obviously they need an extra body or two at receiver. And then also, I don't know if you saw this one. This one just came across. I saw it on RSF 49ers on X. According to Kyle Shanahan, Jauan Jennings never formally asked for a trade. So the reporting on that was obviously erroneous. Sign me to an extension by the 22nd or trade me was the report. And Lynch says, we love him. He's here. And Shanahan just said he never formally asked to be traded.
Yeah, so that's – well, so it sounds like he's going to be around one way or another. And, again, I think if his best course to maybe get a little bit of a bump is, I think, to show up and keep the as he has and be on the practice field tomorrow and be a tone setter because – let's be honest right now, Krug, he's their number one receiver right now because Pearsall's on the pup. So is Aiyuk. The other Demarcus Robinson, no word on any suspension as of yet as well. That was another note from the early part of the press conference. I want to get your thoughts, though, on Ricky Pearsall. What's your concern level on Pearsall? Again, Shanahan made it sound like he was going to be ready about a month ago, but also says, hey, he's expected to be activated relatively soon, but not tomorrow. He's not going to be out there tomorrow as training camp officially opens.
Well, I mean, the nature of the hamstring injury is you've heard people describe them as nagging. Groin strains and hamstrings are nagging soft tissue injuries that are different for different people, right? If you got pretty thin legs, a groin strain or a hamstring strain might not be that big a deal. If you're a A's fan, you remember Ricky Henderson missing 2.5 months with a hamstring strain, but Ricky Henderson had gigantic hamstrings. He was built like an NFL running back. So a hamstring strain on a guy with gigantic, powerful hamstrings might be a bigger injury. So it's not good, of course, and it's nagging, and it's really a concern that this receiver that is trying to show everybody that he's durable can't get on the field. I will say this though, I think there's been an awful the last name you mentioned there. I think is the most interesting name. The guy that I'm pretty convinced is going to be significant for the 49ers this year is Demarcus Robinson. The more I watch of Demarcus Robinson, the more I'm a huge fan of Demarcus Robinson. The 49er receivers really struggled to beat man coverage last year. And Demarcus Robinson with the Rams has proven through the years that he is a man beater. He is a very good player against man coverage. And I just really think he had 7 touchdowns last year. I think Demarcus Robinson was one of the most underrated signings of the offseason for any team. And I would say right now, as we're sitting here on the 22nd, I would be shocked if Ricky Pearsall outperformed and outproduced Demarcus Robinson this year.
Yeah, I think they're really counting on Demarcus Robinson. I'm with you 100% on that, and I think if he winds up being able to be available, no suspension from the jump, then he immediately goes into that. Along with Jauan Jennings, is somebody they're gonna have to count on because of the Pearsall injury and also because of Brandon Aiyuk's timetable. And to go back to the timetable, it was October 20th when Aiyuk had that injury, and I think that was a key point we mentioned was just how significant the injury was. I mean, at the time, people were talking, basically a year. Like a year could be on the table from that point in mid to to late October. So I think it is going to end up, when it's all said and done, being closer to a full year, which I think puts it within that range that we're talking about, between maybe week 5 at the earliest and where you set out on it at week 10. Ben Bartch, we didn't mention him. We'll get to that other headline, and we'll get to some more headlines coming up. Bartch on the NFI got hurt away from the team facility, should be back, quote, relatively soon. It's a quad injury. So relatively soon was the quote on Ben Bartch. And again, injured away from the facility, which we did know, because if you go on NFI, that's what that means. You were injured not working out at the facility or during a team activity.
And that's good news, because, Bartch is slated to be the starting left tackle, and we didn't know what the injury was.
Left guard.
Or left guard, yeah. I would imagine, though, that there's going to be some good competition here, whether Bartch is healthy or not. Because you got other guys. You got Burford, though they want to play him at tackle. You have Pleasance, who potentially could play a little guard as well, who's very impressive. You have Zakel, you have Connor Colby, you have Drew Moss. There's a number of guys there. So Bartch is going to get the first look, and I think he's the leader in the clubhouse, but I would not put that down as just a for sure he's the left guard.
And one other quick one here, Yeturgros Matos on the PUP, expected to be back relatively soon as well. And then the ACL guys, Malik Mustafa, along with Curtis Robinson, Brandon Aiyuk, obviously, all on a similar timeline. This via David Lombardi, all in a similar timeline, according to Kyle Shanahan, where they won't be back for camp, or the Niners don't expect them back for camp, but hope that they can get them back in the first half of the season. So again, that's that September, October, potentially early November range.